I was just texting my mic, actually, when I was saying that. Sorry.
Joe, good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, you know me, I'm blessed. Welcome back to Jacob V Weekly. I am a fucking wreck. I'm a nightmare. You should see my house right now, Joe. Joe and me are still separate for COVID precautions. Because I was positive at the beginning of January. Thankfully, no real symptoms. My house is like a fucking millennial wannabe hipster Sanford and Sons right now. I got like Macs and like cardboard boxes and like vinyl and Funko Pops and fucking.
Hey, Jake, you're kind of quiet. I'm sorry.
I mean, like that's the last thing I want. We could have talked about this a minute ago. It's not really.
I know. Well, it came out of nowhere. It wasn't.
But it's not really an option anymore to continue.
It wasn't.
To talk about it.
It wasn't quiet until you started.
It wasn't quiet until I started what?
It wasn't quiet until you kind of started, for me at least.
Really? It is. Yeah. It looks like it is coming in quieter. Why would that have been all of a sudden? What about now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
It just was coming kind of in like the red before, and now it's not really. Go ahead and say something.
Hey.
Yeah, hey.
Am I too loud? Do you want me to turn
No, I have you cut back a little bit so we're matching on the meters here. We should be fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, my house is a mess. Yep, you fucked my vibe all up, so now we just gotta sit here like this.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you may have ruined the whole evening.
Maybe
the whole thing could be ruined.
We can make a new link.
Yeah, we can just act like this never happened. No, we're good. We're good. We're good. On my turntable this week, Joe, you'll like this. I finally got this in the mail. It was like a anniversary gift from my lovely wife. Margot Price, Perfectly Imperfect, live at the Ryman. Really good sound quality, really cool split color vinyl. Not a Third Man release, which I was surprised about. Out with a different label, but similar in fashion. I think it is red and white, clear, translucent vinyl. What's funny?
I don't know. I just love to think about the reasons why she would leave Third Man. We want to make you look like you're dead on the cover, and we're going to make your face really pale. Yeah, I just don't want that.
Maybe she had a problem with all like the taxidermy. Like this,
yeah, right.
Because she's a vegan, and maybe the dead zebra fucked her up.
You have to describe that. What that is.
They know that over there they got elephants and shit. They were on American Pickers. These people, my audience loves American Pickers. Let me tell you that for nothing.
Third Man Records is Jack White's record label.
They know
he's
that.
Very charismatic. Go ahead. Sorry.
Charismatic, enigmatic, aggravating.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about the taxidermy.
If you ask
so it's February, Joe. So we have another Jacob V's favorite songs playlist on Spotify. If you're a Spotify listener, when you're done listening to the podcast, you can jump on over to Spotify and look for Jacob V's favorite songs. We have February 2021. I carried over YouTube and Barbecue Chips by Jacob Sartorius, which I could argue is the real reason Anthony Bourdain killed himself. I think it's the real reason.
The real reason Anthony Bourdain killed himself
is the song YouTube and Barbecue Chips by Jacob Sartorius.
Wow.
Have you heard this song?
Lawsuit. No, I have not.
Oh, God, it's so good. It's on my playlist. We can't play it on here because we'll get pulled. But it goes like YouTube and Barbecue Chips. It's just like that. That's like the chorus over and over again. And I could argue that's the real reason Anthony Bourdain hung himself. I know everyone thinks it's because he paid off that dude that his girlfriend had porked when he was a minor or whatever, and it's all linked to the Epstein cabal. No, dude. Tony Bourdain saw the death of culture on the horizon, and more obvious by the day, he decided to join the mothership and go down with the last era of decent entertainment in a shell of what used to be a nation. He saw, he heard that maybe someday there'd be a song called YouTube and Barbecue Chips, and he checked the fuck out.
Jake, I'm going to turn on the stream of the podcast for my parents, and that way they can tell us if it's coming through good.
It's really doesn't. You know what people don't want to hear about is us talking about how it sounds.
Sorry. Okay,
they don't want to. They don't want to know about. They don't. The number one feedback I get is that they don't want to hear about.
I'm sorry.
Us working on how it sounds. That's you know what I mean. Like that's our job to do. Other than right now when we're on the air already.
Okay.
So go, please.
No.
And then why don't you shoot me a fucking text message and eat a bag of dicks? I need you reacting to the material that I've prepared for the week.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Are they in the room?
No, they don't know it.
You can mute your fucking self and check the fucking stream.
I'm sorry. We're good. It sounds
I know
great.
we're good. I know I'm looking. I got all this. I got fucking 3 monitors going to make sure that everything's fucking working in here.
Okay.
God damn. Every fucking week.
Every week. Jacoby Weekly.
For example, the death of culture. That I'm not going to let you ruin the opening bit. I'm not going to let you ruin the opening monologue.
Okay.
I'm not going to let you take this from me.
I'm sorry.
The Filet-O-Fish looks like a dare. Have you seen the double Filet-O-Fish?
The double Filet-O-Fish?
Yes, motherfucker. The double. God. If I remember correctly, some locations have had this for a very, very long time. Like going back to when I was on a field trip to Independence, Missouri in middle school with choir, I remember there being a poster for the double Filet-O-Fish, which is just a normal Filet-O-Fish sandwich with an extra fish patty and an extra slice of cheese stacked on each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like a game. It looks like it looks like something you would go to Las Vegas to do.
Yeah. That's weird.
And it's been like an off-menu secret option because I think you can add the extra patty for $1.50 to any Filet-O-Fish anytime or whatever. But I just saw one being advertised right up close. Remember when I was on the phone with you the other day and I laughed at myself because I was sitting at the wrong screen to order something at a drive-thru because I'm sure that was it. And I was looking at the spicy chicken McNuggets and it wasn't even the speaker box. I just wanted to sit there and look at the nuggets. It's like that, but it looks like it's trying to murder you. Like when you look at the double Filet-O-Fish in the face, it looks like it's looking back into your spirit. Like it's a challenge.
Yeah, I kind of wish it wasn't 2 Filet-O-Fishes. I wish it was just one Filet-O-Fish with double.
Sir, it would be fillets of fish. It's like how they say sergeant's major, like it's instead of sergeant majors.
It could be called the Sergeant Major's Filet-O-Fish, and it would be a cube of Filet-O-Fish.
Oh my God!
They just merge
instead
it together.
Instead of 2 patties,
of 2 patties.
If it was as thick as 2 patties, but it didn't have that middle layer of breading.
1 slice of cheese.
Can I have the fucking ham special light cube of Filet-O-Fish? Can I have the? Oh my God! What kind of fish could you get a cube out of like that? That'd be a fat fucking fish.
Well, they're not exactly breading like, this isn't.
Don't you say it. Don't you slander the Filet-O-Fish, motherfucker.
It's.
No, go ahead. What? Is it not fish, Joe? What is it, a fish patty?
No, it is fish, but it's not like they're.
It's not a premium whole fillet of breast meat from a fish.
It's definitely processed fish, which means they've chopped it up and then created the shape. You don't need a special cube fish. You don't need, that Filet-O-Fish isn't the name of fish.
There's no like ocean full of fillet fishes.
That cat is giving you every week.
He is a monster, but we're going to make it what, you cocksucker. He hates it when I yell at him. Am I coming in okay over there, Sergeant? Let's talk about the sound quality on our guerrilla style pirate radio fucking amateur podcast I do out of my basement. Let's talk about the sound quality while we also make jokes about the Sergeant Colonel General Pepper's Filet-O-Fish. I think I hate all of my friends, not just you. It's not just you. I think I hate all of my friends. Like I love all my friends, but we all have things like we hate about each other. Like for example, you are one of my best dear friends. You're a lot of fun to talk to all the time to do this production and whatnot. You just don't know how to do a lot of things that I would like for you to know how to do. So we're going to work on that. It's worth it to me. Hopefully you'll learn how to meet some of my needs before I fucking die. But that's what love is. Some of my friends are like this. I'm not sure, my friends we're not siblings. We're not identical in our backgrounds. Even people I grew up with and went to school with, we're not super similar culturally. You know what I mean? Like at home. Like one of my friends grew up Lutheran.
Oh, wow.
Going to Lutheran schools until high school.
No kidding.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Can you imagine? Those people really think they have the direct line to Jesus. They think they have the fiber optic cable to the Word of God. And I'm not here to tell them they're wrong. I just know that that's how they feel, and it's just a level of passion that I've never felt. And so I just think about that. I'm not even that worried about it, but that's a thing that happened. I'll get an email from them, I'm sure. You guys are the last fucking Gentiles living in Creve Coeur. You live in the parking lot.
That is true.
You live in the parking lot of the Jewish Community Center in Creve Coeur.
Yeah.
You and your giant Roman Catholic family.
Yeah, you should come here during that 1 month or week or whatever.
I'm never coming there again. It's impossible to social distance in your zip code. I've decided. There's 13 of you motherfuckers in that house right now.
Yeah.
Praise be.
What is that day, the Jewish holiday that they all have to walk everywhere and wear their hats?
Is it Passover or Yom Kippur? Or is it one of the other ones?
Jews walk everywhere.
No. Are you Googling that?
Yeah. My CIA
Joe,
agent.
you can't come on my podcast, bitch about the sound quality, slander the Filet-O-Fish,
Shabbat.
and then say that Jews walk everywhere.
It's Shabbat.
It's not your show. I'm the one that'll get canceled. It's my name on the show.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What happened to Jake? And it'll be like, well, on his podcast, they were saying that Jews walk everywhere. They're not even going to remember that it was you. They're going to think I said that I didn't like the Filet-O-Fish and that Jews walk everywhere. What is it? What did you find? It's Shabbat?
It's Shabbat. Yeah. My mom.
Is she mad?
Mom, we're doing... Stop.
She's great. No, bring her in. Is she mad?
No, she's not coming. She's fine. She just is looking at me because I hijacked their display upstairs for the podcast.
Oh, but it's okay, right? I mean, it sounds okay.
Yeah.
Did she give you any feedback?
She said she loves it. She wanted to be on the show, and I said no.
Oh, she's welcome anytime.
I know.
They don't have to keep listening if they're worried about it.
No, they love it.
I did call you a motherfucker several times. I didn't know I was on in
They
your
love
foyer,
that.
ma'am.
No, they love it. I have a horrible mouth here.
Oh, I don't believe that for a minute. Some of my friends, Joe, have had like complete life-halting breakdowns or breakups. Some people lose their goddamn mind. I was just talking about a guy today that I knew who then went to prison, and we don't know him anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People die.
Where did he go?
That happens. Some people need to. Some people refuse to for decades.
What did he go to jail for? Prison.
That's a different show.
Yeah.
I don't want to point to which person I know that's gone to prison because people that listen to the show will be like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. That's a bummer. But if you've ever had somebody in your family that then goes to prison, that's really hard. That's hard stuff, especially if they get out. Ugh, because then it's like a whole thing all over again. Imagine like if someone fucking died, but then no matter how much you love them, imagine they came back.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Yikes! You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of.
Woo! So, Joe, these are some notes from a phone call you and I had this past week talking about the show, talking about life in general.
Yeah, I called Jake sometimes to ask about how...
What did I tell you about talking to my audience?
Sorry.
You don't talk to my... You're here talking to me, baby.
I just want to give him context.
No, it's good. So you and I had a phone conversation.
Yeah.
What are you drinking there? Here, let's all have a sip on Lion's Choice.
My girlfriend got me this.
Today? Which? The sandwich of the future.
Oh, hey, is that place good?
But I do like the cups. And they used to do the thing. Now you can do it in their app, which is really easy. But they used to do the thing where you would write on the bag how you wanted them to do your sandwich. Like you pick a sandwich category and they'd have bags and you'd fill it out. But you can do that in the app too. It's really fun. It's yellow. I love yellow. These are good cups. I used to fill these with Franzia and ice, crushed ice, and those are bigger.
The wide mouth, yeah.
That's part of what helps the mouth feel.
Right.
So one thing we were talking about, Joe, is we were trying. Me and Joe give each other feedback on things that happen in our lives that are hard, are challenging, and we try to talk through how to work on those things. We give each other some pointers, and we try to learn. And one thing that we were talking about is why it's so important to be inquisitive, right? Why it's important, instead of just jumping to answers all the time, maybe instead of jumping to answers all the time, asking some more. I was making fun of you. Asking questions, asking some more questions to develop a more educated answer. This may seem easy, but it's not always easy. And so we were talking about this in like the work context. Like we were talking about jobs we've had, either working in restaurants or in retail or something, and how you notice people come into situations with very different experiences and very different levels of social skills, social context, levels of parenting. You know, if you work in a kitchen, you're going to work with children. Some kids that are like high school kids that are bussing tables and washing dishes, or you know what I mean, a hostess, or I worked in the pizza kitchen at a bar and grill. It was awful. The food was great. The food's a nice place. I just didn't, and I hung out there a lot, but it was just working in a pizza kitchen was not my thing. But you learn that, like, and my brother-in-law, he works in that industry, and so he knows this, that you don't always just get people that know how to show up every day and wash the dishes. Sometimes they have to be taught things like, hey, you probably shouldn't take 45-minute cigarette breaks on a Friday night at 7:30 when we're really busy and we're running out of butter knives because you're watching porn on your phone and smoking Newports in the alley. Like, what? Like, okay, so here's the thing. If any of that happened, you have to address that behavior, but maybe you need to try teaching that person why that behavior is problematic.
Yeah.
If you just fly off the handle and fire everybody the first time they do something, even if it's crazy, it's just going to be hard to keep things staffed as you notice these problems emerging in society. I hate how my beard is cut right now, which is also part of why I was trying to move the mic, because I look like a goddamn crazy person.
It looks good.
What is this? It's coming sideways out of my head, Joe.
Well, you have a different image right now. I have the Zoom
that's
image.
right. There's two cameras. Yeah. There are two cameras. So
it looks thick from my angle.
Yeah, it's a little too thick. I feel like a blockhead from Gumby.
I do have a question actually to add to that. Do you think it would be better? Or is there any appropriate time to be rude to somebody about something they may not know? Like, is there any time where you should be like, why don't you know this? What, like?
Yeah, I mean, you should maybe it's natural to react that way, especially in a situation where there's some mutual dependency in a professional environment. If I'm the dishwasher and I don't know how to manage my time and you're a waitress, you're going to get mad when you find out we're out of spoons because I didn't do the spoons right. You're going to get mad. But if you,
that happens all the time.
But if you just get mad and I don't know why you're mad and I don't know how to correct what was done wrong and then not do it again, those are the two things, I'm just going to think you're a bitch because I didn't learn anything. Because you just got mad, and it seems like you're mad at me, but you didn't say, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry if I seem like I'm being a bitch, but we're out of spoons, and I got a bunch of fucking old people eating soup, and I got no spoons, Joe."
Right. Well, okay. So, and we're talking about people who work together. So
sure. So that's like the professional context is how it came up, right?
Right.
But I also think it happens in the education environment. It needs to. Right, I think any college education professional will tell you that. Most people don't. Most like 18-year-old kids don't come in ready for college, in some sort of a professional or social emotional level, or whatever. And those of them that are patient through that process and are supportive stick around for a long time, and ones that don't have that opportunity, maybe an adjunct person who is really stressed out and overwhelmed and underpaid, maybe they don't have that same patience. But I think as a society, we don't have enough of that kind of, where you realize that, okay, a part of like being in a community with other people is giving them an opportunity to correct their behavior before I try to just delete them from my circle of operation.
Right. And I guess as one more follow-up question, do you think that so if somebody clearly displays that they want to do a good job, but so if you're trying to decide if you need to fire them or not, and if somebody, I feel like the cutoff should be if they clearly want to do a good job beyond the paycheck. So if they want, like some people, you ask them, hey, do you want to do this job? And what they really are saying, I want this paycheck.
Right.
And if they clearly show that they want to do the job right, I feel like that actually requires you to offer them as a manager or whatever. I feel like that should require you to offer as much support as you can for them to get the job right. If they still can't, then they become unqualified for the position. But I feel like, what do you think?
Well, yeah, you want to give people the opportunity to grow into doing the role correctly, especially if you're hiring somebody for a role that they've never done before, right?
Yeah.
If you're promoting somebody internally, which is a really good idea, you're probably going to have a manager who's never been a manager before because you promoted internally. He didn't start off that way. This maybe is his first management role. So you want to give them the opportunity to the point that it's that you can give them the benefit of a doubt. Now, if it turns up that, you know what, this manager is consistently losing a couple $100 every shift from the register or whatever, that's a different situation, right? Because that very quickly becomes stealing.
Right. I didn't even think about that.
But in the situation that say they leave the open sign on all night, but everything else is that happens. I feel like every time you drive past a check cashing place, you think they're open, even though it looks locked and all the other lights are off.
Oh yeah, right. That is so funny.
So I mean, I think that's part of it, and I think that's just an example of how we need to do that more as a society. And we were talking about how to react to things. One thing that you do that you are working on is not jumping to conclusions and trying to solve everything with an immediate problem or an immediate solution to check it off your list, right? Yeah. Some things have to kind of stay a problem until everyone involved comes to a point where they're ready for the solution, right?
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about, a lot of older guys, we notice people like our dad's age and older, right? Our dads are in their 50s or whatever. And people like that and older, like they probably grew up with dads that were more reactive and they would externalize any of their frustration or their anger in their way that like, they respond more with, they would respond more with like aggression or assertive sort of stuff as opposed to, reacting maybe in a more compassionate way. I don't think our grandfathers were necessarily super lovey-dovey. Hey, how's everyone feeling? I don't think our grandfathers were like that in the 60s and 70s and whatever. So it changes, it evolves over time, you know what I mean? But you and I don't respond so well to that. If someone just snaps at us, we start to take it personally and we're like, whoa, I had no idea. I would never want to be involved in a situation that would make you that upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's how I feel. Like if, it hardly ever happens lately because I'm a grown person. We don't, I don't owe him money or anything, but like growing up when my dad would be frustrated and he would snap about, oh, well, this is ridiculous or, fuck this or fuck that. I would always be like, oh, that hurts. That hurts me because I feel like you're mad directly at me. But that's not true. That's not true. It had nothing to do with me. He was feeling frustration, typically with a thing like a box of pizza. We ate a lot of pizza, me and the Cave Trolls, me and Clay and Kangaroo Jack and the Cave Trolls. But he would just externalize it, whereas I internalize a lot of that stuff. So if I get angry, I then feel bad because I'm holding on to it. Yeah. Whereas he would just blurt it out, and that's how he would release it, right? And so your thing is, if someone snaps at you, it's not productive to say, hey, you shouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
Because that's, one, it's unrealistic and it's going to create a lot of limitations, right? Unfortunately, that's still going to happen. People are going to snap off the handle every now and then.
Right.
And so we have to, for ourselves, think about what motivated them to do that. What pressure is building up that they got that mad about XYZ. Maybe it's something simple like laundry or parking. Or maybe it's something, bigger. Maybe they're having a really, really, really rough day at work and they're scared about a situation professionally, and then this other thing that isn't related just pushed them over the edge. Not because they're mad at me, just because they're at a point where they maybe need some support in return. We talked about support a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how that's a situation where it's like a bank account. You put money in and you take money out, and you have to do both constantly. I mean, I guess you could just put money in, but no one's doing that.
Right. Well, and that's why you're exactly right.
Relationships are like that. Sometimes, most of the time, parents do a lot of things that they don't want to do for to make sure that their kids can go to school and shit or whatever. You know what I mean? Right. And then other times you have to remember that, okay, being in that position is stressful for that person. So I'm going to be supportive by nurturing some of that stress and trying not to make it worse.
Right. Yeah. And on top of that, I was remembering a time, in the service industry where, and this used to happen all the time, but it doesn't anymore. I feel like I've kind of grown out of it. I'm glad. And mostly I just do my job really well now, and I feel like I've been given the equipment by my job to do my job really well. But I've been at jobs like, I'm going to say, the comedy club job, we were really on our own the whole time. And these conditions we work in were just really, really tough because it's really small. It's so cramped. And you're delivering these drinks to people who go to comedy clubs are crazy. Like people who go to comedy clubs consistently, it's such a weird scene. And
it seems like such a weird dead art form that was never really big here locally, and that we would have had a big scene. You know what I mean? You have a couple spots at a time, maybe.
Right. But so these people were just so mean. And like, I mean, if you didn't, they would lose their minds. And then the next moment they'd be laughing their asses off. And it looks psychotic.
It is. And yeah, it is.
I had this woman yelling at me right here. She was right here in my face because we have to be quiet, but she's also yelling at me. We're in the back of the thing.
She was like yelling
right here. No, she was for real. So we start right here, and then she begins to yell because I don't know, but for some, I don't think being quiet was part of it, but she was yelling. And after that, and so my reaction is, because I can't punch her in the face, I have the way that manifests is I start doing my job horribly because there's so much in me right now, so much sadness and anger and frustration and fear. And it was this whole mess. And, we got the manager, obviously, whatever, because I thought the table belonged to another person. So I didn't want to take it. So they're like 10 minutes into the set and they don't have any drinks and they're losing their minds. And
belong to another server, you mean?
Yeah. And if you in the service industry, you can't take people.
No. Yeah. You don't want to,
it's people's money because we get paid really little.
You don't want to munch on someone else's grindage.
Right. And so I started bringing in orders wrong, and I started because there was so
frazzled.
Much. Yeah. And
you were overwhelmed by the negativity.
Right. And I don't think, and that happens to a lot of people, I feel like, and I don't think what these people realize is if you want them to get their job, especially in a stressful environment that's clearly chaotic, if you want it to be worse off, do that. Lose your mind.
Yeah, like if you don't feel like the service is going well, freaking the fuck out is not going to improve the service.
Yeah. And if you see them fucking off, like if you see your waiter like on their phone,
hey,
I'm
going to stop you. You still don't say anything.
Really?
No. Yeah, you don't say. What am I going to say? Hey, person who I'm trusting with my food that I'm going to take
right.
into the nourishment of my body, can you please get off your fucking phone? Right. Like, that's not the move. You know what you do is you're super, super patient and you're fucking steaming on the inside. And when it comes time to tip, you tip 20% anyway because you don't know what that person is going through. And then you get in the car and you bitch at your wife about it. And then she calls you a Karen. And then you go home and you go back to that same fucking club with that same piece of shit waitress the next night.
Yeah. And then you thank them.
Because that's what you do in a civilization.
That's right.
You're not going to be the crazy one. The story starts with, this waitress was on her phone, so I had to wait 3 extra minutes for my gin and tonic, which is mostly gin, very little tonic. because extra ice, but not like can I make it a double? But can you charge me for a single?
Yeah.
And why? You had to wait 3 more minutes for another drink that you don't need? You fucking goblin, get out of here! You wait. Yeah. You fucking wait. One of our favorite sushi places with one of our favorite waitresses in town. We would go on this certain night because it was after Weight Watchers, and it was always fucking slammed. And the service took for fucking ever, and there would be one waitress because they're not supposed to get slammed like that on that night.
Right.
And we did it for weeks. We did it for months. Same waitress, same spot, same time, always the same negative experience, and it was not her fault. It was that everybody showed that restaurant was empty, and in 5 minutes it was full, and everybody ordered a bunch of food at the same time because we all fucking waited next door, and we sat around and talked about the new fucking Nutri-Grain bars, and then we decided to go eat because it's half off sushi night or whatever it was. I mean, and then you just put up with it. You just put up. It's part of the experience.
Was this Wishi sushi?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Solved that.
So we shut that. I was supposed to have a fucking salad, I thought, this evening. DoorDash probably fucking stole it. That's happened to me before. I've had like a Postmates driver supposed to be coming to my house and it says it was delivered and then it's not there and I look and they're gone.
Yeah. I can't do the delivery food. Yeah.
Well, no, you got to. I'm not going out in that crazy world. Joe, good God, what have you done to me? So we solved all that.
You didn't get to our kids staying younger.
Oh, so we talked about part of the process is like social maturity, right? And in psychology over the last 200 years, we've learned that it's better for an individual to grow for longer and slower. Right? For growing up to be a natural process that is not rushed or forced along by any kind of trauma or undue stress, right? We just know that. You could Google that shit. Fuck off. Like, that's not the part we're here to argue about. That's the literature, okay? And then we talk about how that's really such a privilege, even with all of the technology and the improvements to modern life, the standard of living being so much higher than it was 100 years ago, but how so much of that is a privilege. Certainly not even just here in the United States, but amongst United States citizens, people that are that live in poverty are much more susceptible to certain types of trauma. All types of trauma, really. It's a higher stress environment, and so that innocence can be compromised a lot earlier, and that's going to inhibit, being a fully well-adjusted grown adult later. Most people never get fully well-adjusted unless you have a lot of, money and you don't blow it on making yourself worse.
Yeah.
And
I just think these TikTok kids, they're like 17 years old, just sitting watching the High School Musical trilogy, just chilling. Sorry.
I mean, TikTok, this is like when Al said, "Hey, what's going on with chicken sandwiches?" And I'm like, Al, what is it? That was 2 years ago, Alfred.
He said that?
He said it on an episode of this show. This show started in October of 2020. And he asked on an episode of the show, hey, what's going on with chicken sandwiches? That was 2019, Al. Yeah, right. Chicken sandwiches were 2019.
That's so awesome.
The Popeye's chicken sandwich was certainly pre-COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, these kids are on Pokemon Go now. Have you heard about this?
What's up with chicken sandwiches? All the kids are on TikTok watching the High School Musical, and Zac Efron's got his nipples out.
Yeah. It's true.
Jesus, Joe. We're moving on. Hey, so Google this for me so that it's not bullshit. I saw that we talked about that this passed in November, but now it's gone into effect that possession of, quote, all drugs has been decriminalized in Oregon.
Yeah, we have to check it because it's a Vice headline.
It was a Vice headline, so we have to check it with real news, not proudboys.gov.
Yeah, right.
Is that funny?
I have to backspace on Proud Boys.
And This includes things like recreational street heroin, cocaine, and meth. You will not be charged with a crime for being stopped with those things. And I believe it is up to certain amounts, because I do believe the trafficking and the distribution is still criminal. But check me on that.
Police in Oregon can no longer arrest someone for possession of small amounts of heroin, the LSD, oxycodone, and other drugs as a ballot measure that decriminalized them took effect Monday. My question is, what if they're taking them? So instead of facing arrest, those found by law enforcement will with personal use.
Well, no, if you're full of smack and you're driving a car, I'm sure that's a crime.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you have heroin on you, I'm going to assume that they know that there's going to be some of it in your bloodstream.
Well, it says you would face civil citation, like a traffic ticket, and not a criminal citation.
That makes way more sense. Yeah, give a motherfucker a ticket. I don't know if they're going to take it. Are they going to give you a ticket for the heroin and then let you keep the heroin? Hey, put that away. Here's your ticket.
Yeah, right.
Do your drugs at home. That's a good question. These are questions.
I hope they post those on YouTube. The like you pull over a mom with like 5 kids in the car and she has heroin, and he's just like, I mean, I want to see those body cam videos. Oh, you have some heroin?
Yeah, Joe,
well, that's illegal.
Animal. That's what I want to see. I want to see body cam of an innocent young police officer who's scared for his life, walking up to an SUV full of children and a mom in possession of heroin. And that's what I want to watch, Joe. I want to watch that. Let's watch this conversation between an obviously struggling single mother with too many children to fit in even a large SUV. And then she's
pulling over somebody.
She's getting pulled over because she's full of heroin, so she can't drive because she's probably trying to shoot heroin and have a 6th baby.
He's probably like, do any of you kids have heroin? Okay, good. I'll take your word for it. All right, miss, I'm gonna need to.
So that's what I want to watch, the fucking live 911 Honey Boo Boo's mom episode.
Yeah. Well, okay. Under the new system, addiction recovery centers will be tasked with the triaging.
See, triaging. That means like intake and like diet. Yeah. Oh, so now triage. The word I couldn't pronounce. Yeah, I know what that is.
I'm not much of a reader, but okay.
I could tell.
The acute triaging the acute needs of people who use drugs and assessing it and addressing any ongoing needs through intensive case management and linkage to care and services. See, I got through that sentence. Check it out. I'm a full reader, folks.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God, I saw this today. I got the link here. I don't know why, but on TMZ, I saw that Lamar Odom is going to box Aaron Carter.
Yeah, that's big news.
Honey.
I mean,
what are we doing?
I know. What are we doing?
These are 2 very sick people. Why are we should be Britney Spearsing them. We should be showering them with love and not letting them go near windows or phones.
Yeah.
Lamar Odom, I thought he was in a coma. Last time I heard about Lamar Odom, he was still married to the fat Kardashian, and he was in a coma because he overdosed on PCP out of like a stripper's face or some shit.
Oh my gosh.
No, look up Lamar Odom. He apparently was in the NBA. I only know him as a Kardashian baby daddy who was in a coma for overdosing on drugs. And now we're going to let this obviously ill former athlete fight a guy who threatened to kill his brother and his brother's wife. And so, like, judges wanted to take all of his guns away. So we're going to let these 2 guys, instead of going to, like, maybe celebrity rehab is a better place than celebrity deathmatch for the obviously ill, drug-addled Aaron Carter and Lamar Odom. Are you looking at it?
I looked up Lamar Odom PCP stripper. That was the most interesting part of that rant. Hooked on PCP is the headline. What should I be Googling? Lamar Odom PC. Okay, Kardashian.
What about it? So you just don't know who. You can read his Wikipedia when we're not on the
air.
What
did you want me to find?
I just didn't know. Let's open the story. I'll open the story that I linked. Let's read it. It's a TMZ post.
Lamar Odom has agreed to fight Aaron Carter.
Right, so I'm opening that. Lamar Odom fighting Aaron Carter in celeb boxing match. Gonna be war. Lamar Odom has agreed to fight Aaron Carter in a celebrity boxing match in June. 41-year-old Odom will take on 33-year-old Carter at the Showboat Casino in Atlantic City. It's not even in a good place. June 12th in a 3-round exhibition.
He's 6'10" and Carter is 6'1".
Yeah, there's a 9-inch differential. That's hard.
Oh, boy.
Lamar Odom played 14 seasons in the NBA. Aaron Carter was the fat kid on the Disney Channel for a minute.
He's gonna sit there. They're gonna be. I mean, Odom's gonna be sitting there with like a tall boy of Stag, in his corner,
Yeah, here we go. He hopes to put a beating on Aaron Carter, who's also struggled with addiction. Why are we letting these people fight for money? That's what we want. We should be we should be paying them however much money they're getting for this fight to go on Dr. Phil and cry, because that's going to be better for their health. We're going to let
bum fights.
This is a bum fight. This is a celebrity bum fight.
Celebrity
Joe.
Bum fight. That's the name of the episode.
That's got to be the name of the episode. So that's happening. Evan Rachel Wood identifies Brian Warner, a.k.a. Marilyn Manson, as her abuser. She wrote on Instagram, "The name of my abuser is Brian Warner, also known to the world as Marilyn Manson. He started grooming me when I was a teenager and horrifically abused me for years. I was brainwashed and manipulated into submission. I am done living in fear of retaliation, slander, or blackmail. I'm here to expose this dangerous man and call out the many industries that have enabled him. Before he ruins any more lives. I stand with the many victims who will no longer be silent." So I guess we're done with him now.
Yeah.
I guess that's our first big Me Too thing since COVID, right? We really took a break from outing. Has it been that long? I mean, since we've had a big one? Like, this is a big deal.
I think Marilyn Manson's going to get like a hip hop pass where like, it's like, well,
I mean,
what does he write about?
All his friends are coming out and saying, we already told you guys he was a piece of shit.
Like Wes Borland. But like if you think about the crowd that follows Marilyn Manson, and you think about like, it's like, well, that's
you met a guy at my wedding that listens to a lot of Marilyn Manson.
You don't listen to Marilyn Manson?
No, I mean, I had the greatest hits when I was in middle school and stuff. And
right.
But I'm thinking there's a guy, I'm not going to name who, but he always wants to put on like Slipknot and Marilyn Manson at somebody else's totally nice party.
I'll be real. Marilyn Manson has some pretty cool sounds on his record.
There's some great. It was an era of like in this industrial new metal thing. It was, it had its time.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It's like it's kind of like I think he's gonna get a pass on it because it's similar to like pointing out somebody who screams from the rooftops that they're an abuser, and then it's like I think he's an abuser. Like he gets his clout from being a horrible person. Like
that's what's so weird though, because he's been on this journey where in the 90s everyone thought like Columbine was his fault and he was the devil, and then it was like, no, he's an artist and he's actually kind of a smart dude, and he's just obviously being shocking and being edgy as part of his thing. That's part of what he does. But this is different. This is not that. This is very much. Obviously, he had a predatory and abusive kind of streak.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate when that happens. You hate to see that. And that's not a joke. I mean, it
feels like the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic guy grooming you and then abusing you.
That's the thing too, because it's also kind of just gross to think about him as a real person, because you're like, what? You're talking about like when he's not wearing makeup and shit? Like, ugh.
Like I imagine him like grooming her like,
oh, it's just like the Bill Cosby thing. You can't. You can't really picture Bill Cosby drugging and raping all those women with his sweater and his. Yeah. You can't. It's not real because it's not a real person. So it's also easier because it's not like.
Yeah. Thank God Mr. Rogers died when he did, because like what would have come about?
Thank God Mr. Rogers never like brutally raped anybody and we found out about it.
We don't know that. I mean, the way he was handling those puppets, I was like, that just seems toxic.
Thank God that no one has come forward against Mr. Rogers, because I couldn't handle it right now. It's a sensitive time for our nation. COVID update. Yeah. Everything sucks, Joe. All life is now apparently terrible. It's not just you. Everyone is totally not digging it. No one is supporting teachers right now. Unions get a really negative reputation, and now they're kind of like lumped in with us. Like teachers are like, it's like that we're the problem, I guess. And people seem to be assuming that kids are going to get the education they used to get in the building, and it's just not possible right now. We talked about that last week. Schools are a mess. Ask anyone that works in one. I don't know how they are all staying afloat. It does not make any sense. I really think people have no idea. Like, they had no idea how hard it was to keep their kids engaged in their own learning this whole time, and now it's in their face, and we have this new enemy to blame in the virus and the shutdowns. But radically, it's a different environment. Schools are just not the same place they were on March 12th before we went into our first lockdown. It's totally, we can't go back. It was the last, March 13th, I wrote down, was the last formal day in the building where everything was kind of normal. And we ended the school year with 1,000 times the referrals we have currently. It's just totally a different world, right? You know what I mean? It's, we used to have normal schools with normal problems, and now it's really all about doing everything safely and distance and keeping everything kind of staffed in spite of quarantines. And we did some research about this already. We pulled some clips and some stuff. For example, why are teachers being given ultimatums during a pandemic? We've been in the weeds all over social media about this. Right here in St. Louis, they are making teachers that have conditions like MS and diabetes and COPD. They're making all these teachers come back in the building unvaccinated, and only the ones that are having their like accommodations for telework upheld are the ones that got their own lawyers. Like, it's crazy, the stuff you're seeing all over the place. And the COVID CARES Act expired in December, so we could have to start taking our own sick days to quarantine if we get exposed. I've changed my tune on vaccines a lot. Of course, I'm suspicious and worried about a brand new type of vaccine that's come together and being used here in North America for the first time ever. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's scary. But my mom, we talked about, is a frontline nurse and, prayer warrior, and she got both doses. It makes sense.
A hero.
She's a hero. She got both doses because she's really out there every day. I think teachers need to be next in line. I can get I can get a flu shot at work every year. I don't know why I haven't gotten this vaccine yet. I would absolutely get vaccinated if it meant I could play music with other people again and safely move about campus at work. But I can't just get vaccinated. It's obscene. Apparently, the tax base that paid billions of dollars for doses, we can't have one. I can't have a vaccine, but I can go in and work with people's kids all day. You put a link in here to a story. St. Louis city leaders not happy with possibility of St. Louis County taking over city's vaccine distribution.
The whites.
Well, no, that makes sense because the county is Sam Page and his whole crew, and everyone likes to hate on them. And
his whole entourage.
But it's the thing, because the rest of the state, it's like COVID isn't happening. You can go to one county over to St. Charles, and the QT fountain sodas are available and everything.
Yeah, I had a table the other day, and he says to me, like, while I'm taking orders, he's like, we come from Baldwin, and it's like. And he wanted me to respond, and I was like
he wanted to fight with you.
Want me to stay? No, well, I don't know. No, he didn't want to fight with me, but he wanted to make it. It's a very big deal to him that he doesn't wear a mask where he comes from, and he came. It's like we are, wearing masks, but he kind of like he trailed off in a way that I'm like, what was I supposed to like laugh or?
He wants you to challenge him on it.
Yeah, anything. He was just putting it out there, and it was so random because I was taking orders.
I got a clip here. I got a clip from just a very similarly cool dude.
You should all be fired from your day jobs because if your employers knew that you were more inefficient than the DMV,
I guess that was kind of my job to put something like that together.
I literally just finished a conference call because I'm having to multitask to be here to address you guys. You're a bunch of cowards hiding behind our children as an excuse for keeping schools closed. You think you're some sort of martyrs because of the decisions you're making when the statistics do not lie that the vast majority of the population is not at risk from this virus. The garbage workers who pick up my freaking trash risk their lives every day more than anyone in this school system. Figure it out or get off the podium because you know what? There are people like me and a line of other people out there who will gladly take your seat and figure it out.
So that's a dad. You couldn't hear that, Joe, because you're on Zoom. But I played the clip of the dad screaming, figure it out, and open the frickin' schools. So those are the parents we're dealing with. Minneapolis. Is that Minneapolis? Minneapolis board member tells teachers to quit your day job if you don't want to return to in-class learning. So, no, we're not going to give you a vaccine, but fuck you. Go ahead and quit if you don't want to come back into work. Who cares if you have a chronic disease or your spouse has literal cancer? And then, the reaction from, obviously, the unions has been, quote, stop it. Stop saying your priority is to reopen schools. Start saying it's to make sure students and employees are safe. Period. And that's the problem, is that's not really what's happening. People want the schools to be completely open, full service, and they just expect it to automatically be as safe as possible. But they're not doubling capacity. They're not doubling. Hey, Laurel, I got a what's up. That's, you know what? That's the first time I've seen YouTube pop up in the multi-stream. I wonder if I fixed my multi-stream problem.
It wasn't Minneapolis. It was Nashville.
Great. MNPS. Metro Nashville Public Schools. Metropolitan. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Joe, very excited about an upcoming journey we're going to be on. Originally tonight we had planned on talking about this crazy ride with Stonks. Obviously,
Stonks!
If you're listening in real time, you've been covered. You've been hearing coverage of the GME AMC stock run that's really blown up in the last week. It wasn't necessarily all the way where it got to be last week, and we have two very excited guests that we're going to talk to on Sunday, a couple days from now, as sort of a follow-up to that craze. So I don't want you to think we're leaving it out. We are leaving it out on purpose. I'm not even going to really summarize the whole stock market thing that's been happening this first week of February in 2020.
Here's what shorting a stock is.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that today. That's all going to happen on our coming episode on Sunday. We're going to have our old friend Alfred Ludwig Ludwig.
He's going to get on there and be like, here's what's the problem with the housing market. And we're going to be like, no, are you following the news?
and then we're going to have our friend Chris Ward come in and tell us his Robin Hood story. He was sort of in the arc of it in a way that's interesting, and the Chris Ward story is going to be written and directed by Michael Mann, apparently, is what Joe wrote here. I think that is going to be a great follow-up to because we're going to get to see how the market closes this week on Friday. Right now, I think GameStop is still up from where it was before the Reddit thing happened, but it's obviously way down from its peak. AMC, last I checked, was below 10, which is woo. If you got hot into heavy into AMC, girl, look out. But we're going to talk all about that this weekend after we have the second full week totally kind of nuked and out of the way of that whole arc. There's going to be a lot of tears. There's going to be a lot of what ifs. But overall, it's been a fascinating conversation. It's really the first time I've ever learned about a lot of this stuff. So Sunday is going to be a really special extra episode of the show. I don't have the answer for the COVID thing. I just want you to know how fucked up it is out there. This is what people are dealing with. People are going to Red Robin and they're drinking Diet Pepsis and they're sharing straws and they're not tipping on onion rings. And then people are sending their kids to school. And I'm an asshole because I want to get vaccinated. So I'm going to pray for it.
I actually do have a solution. I know it's dumb, but I keep thinking about it. I'm like,
your solutions are always weird. Your solutions are always some weird, super nice, but like tyrannical, like imposition of some kind of mandate. Your thing is always, what if it was illegal to be a pain in the ass? What if we outlawed being nasty to other people? What if everyone had to get along?
You're not far off.
No, I'm not. I've been listening to it all week. That's what, and I love it because that's such a great way to look at. What if you had to be good?
What if you had to be?
What if you had to be good? What were you gonna say?
And this is what I feel like Baldwin is doing. It's like
Baldwin.
They're just not reporting the numbers. They're just like, what if?
Well, they said that. They said tests like the rapid test that I got. They said the rapid tests weren't being reported.
Right. I just feel like if we just stop talking about it, it really actually won't exist.
That's what Morgan Freeman said about racism.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't agree with that, but I mean, that seems complicated.
Is that racist to disagree with Morgan Freeman about racism?
That's the real,
he said just stop talking about it. He said just stop addressing it.
Yeah.
I don't think that would help. I think we should probably point it out if we see it, right?
That's a great analogy. You just came up with that so fast.
That's exactly what happened, though.
Because it does impact people in their personal life.
But like,
and you can't just stop reporting on it.
Because we could just say, "Oh, it's illegal to be racist."
Yeah. But like, how are the Baldwin hospitals doing? Like, how are they not flooded? If
there are no hospitals in Baldwin. It's all dog parks.
Oh my God.
And Kmart's.
They're just, wow, Kmart's really crushing it then with the vaccine stuff.
Guys, that's another episode of Jacob V Weekly. High five. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google, whatever. You can bing it. We also have a new Instagram page for the show. We forgot to mention the Instagram page, Joe, at Jacob V Weekly, where we post exclusive content and now clips, highlights from previous episodes, and more. And if you sub to our premium content, boy, do I have a show for you on Periscope. You can find original music by Jacob V on all of your music platforms. On Bandcamp, there's also some exclusive offerings from bands that I've been in, Too Deep and Battle Stag. And I found out I have like 9 Bandcamp pages because of like hoarding band names. I curate the monthly playlist on Spotify since May of 2020. Jacob V's favorite songs. Find those. We did it, guys. Be safe. High five.